Right now.
You're gonna zipline directly into the harpoon?
What do you know about planes?
I know a lot about planes.
Buckle in, dude. It's gonna suck.
Put your hand on the screen.
How did they find out? Who was the one?
This show has gotten infinitely more gay.
The mystical land of New Jersey.
I don't understand how the laws in this country work anymore.
Welcome to the Rebel Radio Show, live, uncut, and uncensored on WSRR Radio. We're saving the underground music scene. I'm radio's Rebel DJ Style. I didn't expect my mic to be so loud in my headphones when I started. To my right is Shaney.
Hey, everyone. There, I kind of balanced you out.
Yeah, no, that was worse. On the board is Jules.
Howdy.
We can also be heard, so you can take us with you anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Live 365 app. Download the app. It's free in your App Store or Google Play Store. WSRR Radio. All you got to do is punch it in. Pairs with your car speaker, pairs with your smart speaker, your Bluetooth, your headphones, anything that connects to the internet.
I found out Live 365 has a Apple CarPlay app recently, so...
Even easier.
Right, go right from your CarPlay.
If you're not like me and have a car from the Mesozoic era, you can just go in and touch the screen in your car and pull us up. You can also go to stylesrebelradio.com, of course. It's our homepage for everything, WSRR, all of our shows, showtime schedules, and more. But now you can also just go to WSRRradio.com because we finally got that domain.
3 capital R's, baby.
Yeah, it's kind of because it's kind of redundant, right?
But
So I thought
but
about when we made it.
Well, I feel like it looks good when you type it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everyone should go check it out right now. Look at it.
Yeah,
so
just see how it looks.
Just
in your
see
search
how it
bar.
looks. Type in all caps WSRR and then one more R and then lowercase adio.com just to see how it looks and then hit send.
Yeah, or you could, if you're one of those people, you could always read WSRRRadio.com.
Yeah,
It's wrong. You're
yeah,
wrong. It's like the
yeah.
people that say GIF. You're wrong because it stands for graphic. But anyway, there's 2 MIT students that might disagree with the GIF situation, but that's irrelevant because they've invented a new crime.
They're in jail. I
are.
don't know if they have much of much of an opinion other than damn, I hate jail.
There's probably standards. So you have to think, at some point, all crime had to be invented, right?
That's true. That's a very good point.
Like, tax evasion wasn't a thing
Until somebody evaded.
Someone's
until
like-
someone evaded taxes.
Someone's like, you know what? Fuck that shit. I'm not doing that.
Me last week.
Yeah.
IRS, please don't.
Hell
Please don't
yeah.
take that seriously. Please don't come at me, IRS. But no, these 2 MIT grads are charged with a new crime for harvesting crypto. And basically, what they're doing is exploiting a vulnerability in the market's open and close. So just like stocks, it closes at a certain time. It's like 5 p.m. or something like that. The stock market closes every day.
Right.
And that's the cap. That's where it's cut off. It stays at that until the next day when the market opens and you get the new price for the new day, right? How it fluctuates every night.
What time does the stock market open? Like 6 a.m., 9 a.m.?
Something like that.
I have
8,
no idea.
Maybe 8?
No idea.
There's a lot of people that play the stock market that are a lot smarter than us. 216-859-8699 if you're playing the stocks. All we do is check the stock.
Yeah, yeah.
We
They
had
seem to be good.
someone else do it, and we just check it.
Yeah, they
And
seem
they've
to be doing good.
Always
so-
been up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Always in the green.
But basically what they're doing is they're exploiting that close and open time frame in the blockchain because it is digital.
Yeah.
So they're going in and they're selling it either like right as or right before it opens from the previous day, depending on, the dip in it, if it's increased, if it's lowered,
Right.
and just cashing out. And I guess they have made $25 million in 12 seconds or something like that. Some
Yeah.
crazy number like that.
Yeah. 25 million in cryptocurrency in 12-second heist.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
It wasn't even a heist.
They found a loophole.
Yeah,
So-
it's not illegal until they did it. So, like...
What Morning Brew, reputable source, is telling us is that they're charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering and face 20 years in prison if found guilty. But this was a vulnerability in their system. This was a loophole, and they looped it.
I understand that is conspiracy to commit wire fraud because you can't stick them with wire fraud because no one knew you could do this.
Right.
And I understand
Yeah.
the court's view of this is probably like, you guys knew that this was going to be not on the up
Okay.
and up.
Okay,
And,
I see what you're saying.
but
and you're
also at the
probably
same
right.
time, whoever's running the blockchain should have this protected.
I feel like...
I think it's their fault.
No, yeah, and I think that at the end of the day, it should just have like higher security at those specific open and close
Right.
times. You know,
It's like me walking into Walmart to buy an energy drink. and they didn't scan it in when they got the shipment. So none of the barcodes work on the energy drink.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to know if I take it because it's not even in the system.
Right.
It's not right.
Oh man, that's one of the perks of.
But you also don't have it in your system.
One of the perks of working retail is understanding that
Yeah.
and being like, yeah, you're right. If they didn't scan it in, it doesn't matter.
It's all made up and the scans don't matter, baby.
yeah.
But what I'm thinking is like these two buds are checking their cryptocurrency to
Bud
see
1 and Bud 2, right?
the stock just opened, right? It's the early AM. They're gonna check their crypto because
Right.
they're sweaty crypto kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they see, oh, the number's still the same as yesterday. Let's see if I can cash out.
Yeah.
They do it, and they're like, oh, I can cash out with yesterday's number if I go in like this early.
Right.
And then they were just like, all right, let's do that.
Well, that kind of reminds me of someone that I knew that isn't me who found a little exploit in the Venmo card, and I would like
That's exactly what I was thinking
Send
when I read this.
someone that a friend of mine would send money to their friend, and they'd send it back, and it would still be in their account, so they would withdraw it and then just have that money in cash, but then also had sent it to their friend, or like per se, someone sends my friend money to get food. I use the card for that Cash App, Venmo, whatever it was. It doesn't go through, and then I pull it out to my bank account. And
Well, see, that's exactly so. I'm reading a little bit more into it here, and that's
Yeah.
in detail more how they did it.
right,
So it says right here how they do it. They find a point of vulnerability in Ethereum, the time between a crypto transaction posted and when it's added to the blockchain.
right.
So they're using that time between.
There's like a
updating.
lag time,
Yeah.
and you can kind of withdraw it then, and the system is just like, whoop, okay, it went through, and it like you got your cash, and it
Mhm.
also got sent. It doesn't
Yeah,
know.
so it's the system. It's not them.
Right.
The system needs to up their
So-
shit.
So my friend is getting fucked by the system now, and anytime he gets or sends Cash App or Venmo, there's like a 15-second or a 15-cent charge out of it. So like
Your friend gets charged every time they use.
so if you send my friend $15, he'll get $14.59 or some shit like that
Really?
every single time. And I thought that was, my friend thought that was something that
They
Everyone
do.
did.
right. And then I told that to my friend, told that to his fiance, and his fiance was like, "No, no, baby, that's you." And I explained
Holy shit!
explained to her the story, and she was like, "Yeah, no, that's you, and that's why." And I was like, "That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense."
Is that has your friend looked into it with Cash App and or Venmo of like, this is how much we're gonna take until this amount is met, or is this just permanent?
So that stopped happening with
Okay.
Venmo, but it hasn't stopped with Cash App. And so I think my friend is just still paying off those debts, you know? My friend is just still in the trenches
Holy
paying off
shit.
those
That vulnerability debt.
Yeah, that vulnerability debt, you know?
This is a crazy arc in this because I know we talked about this story on Off Air.
yeah.
Check out Off Air, stylesrubradio.com.
WSRRradio.com.
That is one way to look at it. It's on at 3 p.m. during the week.
Yeah.
And I know we had talked about this before, and it was kind of just left off with, yeah, so that happened. I'm
Yeah.
glad that we got the follow-up of it's still kind of happening.
Yeah, I mean,
there's retribution to be paid.
ever so slightly, daily and nightly in many ways. Yeah, everything stays, yeah.
At least you didn't go to federal prison for it like these kids did.
Yeah, no,
Or can.
it's just
They're
like
not yet.
my friend just gets
Yeah.
a 20-cent bump out of his
Yeah.
sending. Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Well, I'm glad your friend didn't have to face trial against.
yeah.
Who's suing them? Ethereum?
Probably.
I would assume
The federal
state.
government?
Yeah, like I would assume this is like a government issue.
I feel like a good lawyer can get them out of this.
I don't know, because they
Maybe.
also have their like math and computer science degrees, and
I mean, it's gonna be really hard to argue 25 million in 12 seconds. That's just a really tight squeeze of an argument. You know, I'm gonna be the lawyer standing in front of the judge, like I don't know what to tell you about this one. Like
these
that's
kids are just
yeah, they're
good
super
at
good.
stocks.
It's just really everything on the internet happens really fast. You
It's
just
a hell of luck, you know.
yeah.
It's very lucky. Rub the 8 ball today. That's just what happened, you know.
Speaking of MIT too, I wanted to bring this up at the beginning, but I kind of forgot.
Spider-Man, right?
I found out MIT is so have you ever seen the movie 21?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a movie about card counting and like
Oh, okay,
gambling
yeah, I
and
know what
stuff
you're
like
talking about.
that.
Okay, yes,
But
yes.
it's a group of college students and their professor who
Mhm.
like runs it. I found out that movie is based on actual MIT students and
Yeah.
an actual MIT professor who would legally count cards, because counting cards in a
Yes.
casino is
Yes.
legal. It's just that the casino can then, if they suspect you of doing it or catch you doing it, they can kick you out if they
Yes.
want to. But it's completely legal. So I thought that was very interesting. And now
So
hearing
MIT
about
is just a school of crime. is
right,
what it-
just really smart criminals.
it's literally like one of the most prestigious technical schools, and
Right.
it's just pumping out criminals
really,
left and
really
right, and Spider-Man.
Just smart-
technologically smart criminals who can
Smart,
bend the
logically
system.
thinking
Right.
criminals.
Right.
They're going to steal a lot of money
I'm not
very
often.
quickly.
I'm not often an advocate for college these days. However, if you have the means to go to
Yeah,
MIT to exploit the system,
Right. If
Hey,
you
Do
if you
it.
get accepted,
Listen.
yeah.
If you go to MIT, you're going to have to rob a bank to pay those
Yeah,
studios.
that's
yeah.
probably what it is. You know, everyone's realizing they're getting fucked over by MIT, and
Yeah.
they're like, "How am I going to pay
Just
for
gotta
this?
pay
Wait
off
a
my
minute.
debt, man.
I learned how to pay this. I've been learning the whole time how I can pay this off. It's just about exploiting the system, baby."
That's so awesome that 2 crime syndicates from MIT about
And I bet there's more.
exploiting systems.
yeah.
More that we haven't heard about. That
Yeah.
are just like rich people
Yeah.
living anonymous lives. Yeah.
I would love to learn how to count cards. Just on a side note.
It seems very interesting, and I just learned, I think it was this morning or last night, but I just learned that it was legal.
I know the basics of how it works. I just don't know how to use it in practice.
I
is
don't
the
even
issue.
understand like I know how to play blackjack and stuff like
Mhm.
that, but I don't understand the concept of counting the cards to make sure you know that you're going to get 21, like you're going to hit
Yeah.
every time, you know?
It's based off the statistical probability of what's on the table, essentially.
Oh,
and
okay,
The
no,
pattern you see.
and especially if you're playing with more people, it
Right.
probably changes the, okay.
My issue is
if your table has 5 people and they each have 5
Right.
cards.
Right.
the issue I run into is I can understand that if like I sit down, dealer breaks out a new deck, because they do that all the time,
Right,
right? They
yeah.
break out a new deck.
Right.
I can understand that if I walk up midway through someone's game
Yeah.
and like there have been 6 hands with this deck already, I don't know what we're doing at this point. I don't know how
Right,
that's
right,
supposed to
right,
translate.
right.
Moral
Mm.
of the story is I haven't been counting cards. Please don't come at me.
Yeah,
Uh,
we
No.
only wish we could be card counters.
I pay the penny. I do the penny slots and lose like $300.
but they shouldn't. I think the conspiracy to commit wire fraud, is that what
Yeah,
it was?
yeah.
That one will probably stick.
And money laundering.
I
don't think money laundering will stick.
No,
Yeah, I
because
don't
they
know
didn't
if-
wash it.
yeah.
It's legal money.
Well,
Well-
it's legal money because there wasn't a fucking thing in the system to prevent it.
Well, and it's just all the like if they never took it out of crypto, then I mean, I guess it's currency, so there can be. But then, how does that work if it's internet currency versus? I don't know. Crypto is still newer to me, so I don't know how
Is
that
it
works versus
laundering?
like the dollar. Like if they had converted it all to actual money and
Yeah.
had paper, then 100% I could be like, oh yeah, you guys are going to jail for a long time. But
Is
because
that considered laundering? To
Ooh,
right,
maybe.
I don't
To
know
take
because it's all on the
crypto
blockchain.
Because
and
it's going from crypto to
to
or going from Ethereum to a different crypto to
Yeah,
maybe it could be.
I don't know.
if they're transferring it from crypto to crypto.
I'm
then
not a
the-
virgin. I don't understand how the blockchain works. I'm
Well,
sorry.
If they're transferring it from crypto to crypto, then the exchange rate could also differ, and that way they could have.
They made $25 million. I don't think they're worried about the exchange rate.
So here's the how do they do it. They studied math and computer science in college. Allegedly
Obviously,
found
MIT.
a point of vulnerability in Ethereum. The time between when the crypto transaction is posted and when it's added to the blockchain. Prosecutors said they redirected pending transactions to steal $25 million before filing it away via shell companies to hide
So
their
it is
okay,
laundering.
It is laundering.
Okay,
They
so
were using the
never
shell.
mind.
The shell companies is what blows that open.
Yeah, okay, so maybe they'll get stuck with laundering.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, MIT, we're on to you. 216-859-8699. Let me know if you're counting cards.
WSRR.
We're not doing Weezer, okay, guys? I really want to hammer that home, okay? For my own mental stability. We're not doing Weezer.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so,
Interesting?
yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/one small step, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/one small step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Rebel Radio Show, legal in 47 states.
If you've ever wondered why we're only legal in 47 states, it's because the other 3 were where our shell companies were.
They caught on to us.
Yeah, we're not allowed to broadcast there anymore.
It wasn't RRSW Manufacturing.
What?
That would be our hypothetical shell company name.
Backwards?
Yeah.
I just caught that on. I'm a little slow on that one.
RRSW Manufacturing and Supplying.
We were mining audio illegally.
Yeah.
It's like Napster.
Yeah.
Anyway, I sound high right now. That's probably because we're talking about Wisconsin Capitol and their tulip garden and their weed plants and their tulip garden.
Yeah, the tulip garden at the Wisconsin Capitol building started sprouting flowers.
Ooh,
flowers.
Flowers.
No, flowers. Not only tulips, but weed.
The flower, yeah.
Yeah, baby. That's pretty sick. I've definitely... This is someone's hard work finally paying off, you know what I mean?
I bet somebody's laughing their ass off at home reading the news.
Sure.
Some person in their 40s who did this when they were like a teen and went to a Wisconsin college. It's like, hell yes. Finally.
Is Wisconsin a legal state?
I don't
I
think so.
think so.
Yeah, I think
No?
it's still illegal there, losers.
What's the other one? Oregon?
Because
I know Colorado.
There's a lot that are
Michigan.
still...
Ohio now, right?
Yeah. It's
Ohio, Michigan, and Colorado, I know for sure.
It's
are legal.
coming
Washington.
close.
Washington is what I'm thinking of. My bad, guys. So initially when we read this, I thought Washington. I'm like, oh, so what's the big deal? I guess that is more of a big deal that it's... I mean, even so, you can't be growing weed in front of the Capitol building.
Right.
I think it's great.
On someone else's property.
You got to think, realistically, for this to have grown this high naturally, this is probably... Well, I mean, I guess it could have it could have happened also recently, too, thinking about it. But, like, for it to grow noticeably this high through the other plants, I feel like this is something that had to have grown, was small enough to not see, died, you know, like went through the cycle.
Well, that's what I was thinking, is how many people knew about this before they caught on,
right,
and were like passing this by and go, oh shit, is that what I think it is? And made a couple stops at the Capitol building every so often.
Right. Because I was gonna say, I've done this sort of agriculture before.
Shane's a farmer.
I am a what do they call it? Guerrilla agriculturist.
Yes.
You know, I'm a guerrilla florist.
Daryl
So
the
re-
Wild Man.
Some
A
might
regular
say.
Daryl the Wild Man. over here.
I myself am a regular Daryl the Wild Man.
I really like Gorilla Florist. too.
Yeah, no, that's me, man. I've definitely had a handful of some seeds, and I've just
Well, what do they call it when you just scatter like wildflowers places? There's a term
Seed
for it,
bombing?
right? Seed bombing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
And they sell like pellets and shit you can buy.
They
Yeah,
sell
the
like
little
giant,
biodegradable,
balls.
you just throw 'em
Yeah,
and
they look
they
like little
eat.
white balls, and
Yeah.
you just kind of throw them.
Well,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did a story a while back that like planes were dropping that shit over.
we
Yeah,
did a
planes
story.
were dropping weed.
I know that planes were dropping weed. That
That
was
was
another
drones.
story. Wait, that was drones?
Drones were dropping weed.
I thought planes were dropping weed.
We also did a story where some guy was like blowing weed all over the place with some flamethrower and
Guys,
that
I'm-
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I do
anyway.
remember.
Guys, I gotta be honest. I'm high right now.
The smoke thrower.
the
He had a
seed
fog
bombing-
machine that was spraying. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do remember that. Okay, sorry.
The seed
Inside.
bombing was the like towns that were kind of abandoned.
Yes,
People were
yes.
throwing them
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
covering
Like
the
empty
towns.
strip malls and shit
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's basically the same concept, right? So I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never. Do you have to have certain circumstances for this to grow? Like, I can't grow a palm tree in Cleveland.
I know that
Some people use chemicals.
I know that. I know it firsthand
Talking to me about K2 right now on air.
to grow it well and to grow it like how you would want to use it takes a lot of like nurturing and babying, and you have to like have a lot of special equipment and do a lot of special processes. So it's not like
And lamps and stuff.
it can grow naturally, and you can find like buds and stuff
Right.
naturally. It's just you can only find
Just usually not large quantities clumped together in the tulips.
well, yeah,
not
but,
in a specific garden.
but like it's something that it would take like years of it growing and dying and getting stronger and growing and dying and getting stronger, and like that cycle of it becoming a more natural in that environment.
This
right?
picture is crazy because
It
they are
is.
tall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
no,
saying. Like it
they're
had
up
to have
there.
been.
And it's a
could've-
lot.
It could have been last year. It also could have been like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know.
And, I get why people might not see it at first, too. Because, like, at just walking past, it kind of just looks like an overgrown flower bed.
Like a
Yeah, it looks like it has
Like weeds.
Look like weeds.
Yeah, so, like, I get it. And I wonder if that's what it was. Is if someone was like, hey, we need to take care of the fucking flower bed because it looks like shit.
Yeah.
It's just over. And someone walked down and was like, guys, I got bad news about your weeds.
These are not weeds. These are weed.
This is weed.
They call the fucking landscaping company. "Hey, we got a weed problem."
Bring your bongs and lighters. We have a weed problem.
Can you think a landscaping company could do anything about that? Who do you call? Could you just
Ghostbusters?
I was about to say.
you fuckers? Could you like? So my question is,
Yeah, a landscaping company, I would assume.
well, like, I would assume this was a isolated enough incident where if they wanted to, the people who were in charge of the Capitol buildings, guess what it is, right? The Capitol
Yeah.
building of
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the people either in charge of the building or in charge of their landscaping could have just gone out there and removed it.
Yes.
Also, though, once it's public like this, I feel like the police might be involved
Oh yeah, probably.
because this is growing weed illegally.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm not saying they did it or they're going to get charged for it. I'm just saying the police might want to see it.
There's probably an investigation.
I wouldn't be
most
surprised
likely.
if there's like an air quotes investigation
Yeah, that's what
of
I'm
like
We're looking into it.
we're looking into it, but they already tore it up and it looks beautiful over there now with tulips and roses and shit. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just get to it later. You know,
That's
like,
just gonna go to the evidence locker.
right.
In the evidence locker.
Yeah.
In my in my heart of hearts, I really hope that there is like one dude who's responsible for this, and he knew it for years, and he'd been doing
Yeah.
this for years, and would make stops at the Capitol building for business
Yeah.
purposes.
Yeah.
And he came by one day and just saw it was tulips and was devastated.
Yeah.
I really hope that it's somebody that works at the Capitol building
Oh yeah.
that like goes out for a doobie break.
I would love
and
that.
It's just their gardener.
Yeah.
and they just like every day they've picked the seeds out of their weed and just like thrown them in the garden. And
This is like what it's finally come to.
Yeah.
This is its fruition. I like the idea that this is Wisconsin's rollout for like legalizing weed.
It's
Like,
already
what-
here.
Like, well, this is how we're doing it.
come get it.
Weed on the Capitol building. It's legal now.
I
Do you
love the
need-
picture. It's just so funny that it's
you wanna
got
put it
the
in the
statue.
Discord?
Absolutely. It's got the statue and the Capitol building and
Yeah.
like weed.
Well, because again, like first glance, you wouldn't fucking notice.
Yeah, it does kind of just look like you need like some Raid or whatever.
It looks like the
Is it Raid?
No, Raid's for bugs.
The fuck's the one that you
Cutter.
Roundup?
No, Cutter's also for
Roundup.
Roundup's for weeds. Yeah.
and cancer.
Whoa.
Oh my God, we don't live in California. Cans don't give us cancer. Everyone knows you only get cancer from aerosol if you live in California.
That's true.
This picture just looks like it would be the front picture on the Wisconsin Capitol website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope it was, because like this looks nicely taken.
Yeah. It
Like this
does
looks
look
just like a photo of the Capitol building.
right. It does look like it could be just on
I
the
hope.
cover of their website. Or
I
something
really
like that.
hope it was. And what if that's how they find out?
They're like, wait a minute, fuck.
The guys is Wisconsin growing pot?
They zoom in and they're like, "Oh my god,
Those aren't weeds, Mr. Mayor. Those are not weeds.
Mr. Mayor's is zonked out of his fucking mind.
It's like I fucking know, dude. I fucking know.
Shades on, kicked back in his
Yeah.
chair,
Yeah.
reeks in his fucking office.
He said, "Who do you think put it there, dude?"
Yeah.
That's wild. That's a because my question is, do you need a license if like you're a hemp farmer?
I think so.
So there are different jurisdictions between like hemp and marijuana, because that's how like Delta 8 and shit
Okay.
exists, and it is legal because it's hemp and it's not like the full marijuana.
Quote unquote weed.
Right.
Right. Well, I was just asking because before when I asked if it's logical to grow it
mm-hmm.
just out in the open like this and if it'll work for recreation,
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of my thought process of like, well, the only time I ever seen it used for products, i.e. hemp,
Mm-hmm.
it's grown in fields, like big hemp farms.
Right.
And you can also use that for other things.
Right.
But, like, typically, the guy on the corner of the street doesn't have a hemp farm. He has a closet and a black light.
Right.
That was just my curiosity between it. Because I did know a guy.
Mm-hmm.
I had a neighbor once somewhere that I won't disclose
Mm-hmm.
who
Right.
made a garden.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a nice garden. He had cucumbers and tomatoes, and in the back, he just had some real fucking tall weed plants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's probably a smart way to disguise it if that's the business you're about.
I had a neighbor who was very like visibly a hippie when I was growing up, and he had a garden in his backyard, and our backyards were like connected, like there was no fence or anything. My backyard was just next to his backyard, and he had this big plot of vegetables and stuff like that. And I always thought, at least later in my life, I was like, he has probably grown weed there. And
Yeah.
like does, because he was in Nam and like came back and was super hippy dippy and so I had always speculated that was the case and just never known.
I think it's funny. There's a post that went pretty viral a couple years ago, and it's when you become an adult and realize everybody does cocaine. And I'm like, I hate how accurate that is, and it's just double the fact for smoking weed.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I thought you were gonna say when you grow up and realize everybody smokes, because I've seen that before, and maybe that's just because I smoke weed and so I'm that kind of content is more pushed to me, right? But
I just do ayahuasca.
yeah, gotta chug the wask. But yeah, I have that's something where like I've grown up and realized that either you smoke weed or you're cool enough with smoking, like. It doesn't bother you, and it's not. People don't have a negative mindset, and some do, and then it's like you be respectful, right?
Yeah.
But
it really is one of those things where like people have not, because we're not Ronald Reagan country anymore,
right?
And like I think that's wild that it's and it's not necessarily good or bad. I just think it's an interesting shift in culture that 40 years ago weed was the worst thing in the world.
It's such a, okay. Here we fucking go. Buckle
And now we got a minute, Shane.
Buckle up. But yeah, I think it's just how the cultural narrative goes,
Sure.
right? Throughout time. And so cultural narrative goes up one way about one thing and down one way about another thing, and then 20 years goes by and it's completely flipped. Or
Well, I think we've
Look
also
at
realized
aircraft.
we have bigger problems now too.
Right.
Everybody used to get dressed up to the nines to go on a flight. Now everybody gets the most comfortable outfit.
Now everybody
possible.
gets shot in the head when
Well,
they talk about Boeing.
It's because of TSA, probably. You can't put
TSA, huh?
No, I mean like the clothing thing, because now you have to get like completely.
People
on
used to
Russian
fucking go and
stuff.
wave at ships taking off for people they didn't know. All
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Never have I wanted to do that. Also, I'd like to reinforce, challenge your TSA agent, 216-859-8699.
Didn't leave for cigarettes. He's out in the car, listening to the Rebel Radio Show.
Laundering money, growing pot, and culturally appropriating food. Welcome back to the Rebel Radio Show.
Yeah, buddy.
WSRRadio.com, live 365, or if you're with us live this Monday at 5 p.m., you can also check out the simulcast on YouTube, Styles Rebel Radio on YouTube. Of course, WSRRadio.com gives you all of our links. There was a while back where we talked about tequila being more soup than cereal because it does have a worm, and the worm is protein.
I don't stand by that. I would like to, if my opinion was agreeing back then, I'd like to disagree now just because I really don't like tequila. That's just my only...
That doesn't make it not a soup.
That's just a personal caveat. Because I love soup, hate tequila, man. I love most all soups, not tequila.
2 bowls at a time, in fact.
Yes.
No, listen, hear me out, though, real quick. If it has to be a soup or a cereal, because it is a liquid with a solid in it, it has to be either a soup or a cereal, all right? And it can't be a stew.
I am just... This whole argument is null and voided by the fact that it's an alcoholic beverage. You can't pour pop in a bowl and then put, like, a slice of banana and be like, look, I made cereal. No, you're psychotic.
What defines cereal, then?
You're psychotic.
Then what defines cereal to you?
Pop.
It's not soup.
It's not
That's
a
cereal.
soup. It's not... That's not food. You couldn't give that to a starving person and be like,
banana's
here, I
food.
made you food.
The fuck I couldn't? They're starving.
They would eat you.
They would eat it.
They would eat you.
You're telling me I walk up to a homeless man in the Bronx and the dude hasn't eaten for 3 days and I give him a bowl of Pepsi with a banana in it and he's not eating it?
I'd like to clarify for the listeners, I do think this is stupid also. So, yes.
I think you're stupid.
So do I. What's going on in fucking Indiana?
That's what I ask myself every morning. There was a court ruling that tacos and burritos qualify as sandwiches, which is why I brought up the soup thing.
The soup thing is, I don't even.
You're dumb. 216-859-8699. Is tequila a soup or a cereal? Anyway, an Indiana court has ruled that burritos and tacos qualify as sandwiches because there was a taco shop in Indiana. It was looking to expand to a second location. It had reached out to a local mall. They had a spot open in the food court. They had been in talks about the guy moving his shop in. And then the food court manager, mall manager,
right,
retailer.
The guy in charge.
Yeah.
The guy running the place. The guy running the
Mall.
mall. Mr. Mall.
Senior Mall.
John Mall himself.
Turned back and said, well, you know what? This is actually for sandwiches. It's a sandwich shop, and we need a sandwich-style shop to fill this location. And they essentially laid it out as they want it to be like a build-your-own like Subway-style area, because that's how it was laid
Right.
out. That's what the mall
Like a
accounted.
Chipotle style
Which I don't,
thing.
yeah, which I don't know why they couldn't change that. Like,
That's
if you're buying the spot, what does it matter what's going in it?
Right. If it's food, especially if it's food and it's in the food court, what does it matter?
But anyway, that's the mall was like, no, we're going to go back on our agreement because you don't have a sandwich-style restaurant. You're selling tacos. So this guy took him to court, and the Indiana court ruled that no, tacos and burritos are Mexican-style sandwiches. So he gets to have his shop in the mall now.
My question is, when he first came to him and said, hey, I want my shop in your mall, did the dude not go, yeah, what are you selling?
Chocolate.
Because, like, if the issue was that he was selling burritos and tacos, he could have just said, yeah, we're not looking for a Mexican place at this moment.
You know, this guy definitely like turned heel midway through the deal and was like, actually, we don't want tacos.
Mexican style sandwiches is when you go to Cozumel and start making PB&Js for everybody. I'll take a Mexican style sandwich.
Mexican style sandwich is when I've been out in the sun too long and I start pouring Corona on your guys' burgers. That's a Mexican style sandwich.
This is so ridiculous, though. That the fact that the mall man, because you're right, he turned heel halfway through and was like, wait, we can't have these tacos and burritos in here. You know
what the fuck is a taco?
Yeah, he pulled a real Vince McMahon and just didn't know what fucking
burritos
for anyone who doesn't know, Vince McMahon had never heard of what a burrito was well into his 60s.
That's fucking crazy.
Oh, he shits on people, so literally. So there's that.
Yeah.
I bet he loved burritos.
He did. That's the thing.
Didn't you say that he had burritos like all the time after that? Or would
Okay,
ask
so
for burritos?
here's the story. They're sitting in a board meeting, and someone had pitched an idea for a show, and they had some part of the act was that there was a burrito involved. And Vince McMahon's reply was, well, we can't do that. No one will know what that is. And everyone was really quiet, and they just kind of looked at him. And I think it was Bruce Pritchard. Someone was like, Vince, do you not? Everyone knows what a burrito is.
Right.
Have you never had a burrito? And he never had a burrito.
The fuck is a burrito?
So they brought him a steak burrito, which he ate in the meeting, and then kept asking for more.
Iconic. Love that shit.
Imagine being in your 60s and never hearing a burrito. Obviously, the mall manager's in the same spot.
Yeah. What the fuck kind of Mexican style sandwich is this?
Because that's all I can think about is this guy being like, yeah, I sell tacos and burritos. And he's like, oh, cool.
Sandwiches.
And he's never heard of it. He's just trying to play it off. He's like, oh, yeah, dude, I had one of those the other day. Is that like a panini?
What the fuck is that?
Do they not have Taco Bells in Indiana?
Apparently not in the mall.
Yeah, I said it before we came on, but this is 100% you whitewashed Mexican cuisine. This is 100% whitewash. A Mexican-style sandwich is a crazy way to describe any sort of food.
They're not entirely wrong is the worst part. Like, I don't know where I'm at.
No, looking at it through a certain lens, it's like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and it wouldn't, if I saw it, if I saw, like, if I was driving by someplace and I saw on the marquee or whatever, it's because it's a movie theater.
Yeah.
But
Two
I
bowls
saw
of soup, right?
I saw like the name of the restaurant, and then under it, it said Mexican style sandwiches, like in smaller letters. You know, I would assume, like, at first I'd be confused and be like, okay, maybe this is like a grilled chorizo sandwich or something, like where they use taco
Tex-Mex.
meat, right? But then I think if I were to go in and like think about it for more than 5 seconds, I'd be like, oh, tacos and burritos, duh.
No, the problem is, you know what my first thought would be when I see that? Oh, it's a quesadilla. Because that's a Mexican-style sandwich right there. That's a panini. A quesadilla and a panini, same fucking thing, different meat.
That is a Mexican. Well, I see. At that point, I'm qualifying that as a Mexican panini. I'm skipping sandwich.
It's grilled cheese.
What's a panini then? It's just a sandwich.
Well, a panini, I feel like
It's a pressed sandwich.
it's its own kind of sandwich, though. Like,
That-
you can have a ham and cheese sandwich, or you can have a ham and cheese panini.
Did I ever tell you about the time I ordered a panini and the guy didn't know how to make a panini?
Mm.
I went down. There's a gas station down the street that has a kitchen in it,
Uh-huh.
and usually they're pretty good.
Right.
And I go up there and I see paninis on the menu. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't had a panini in a minute. That sounds good. Ordered a panini. Waited in line. I'm like, this is taking an awful long time for a pressed sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy at the window comes up and goes, I'm gonna be honest, dude, I don't know what a panini is. And I'm like, what? And I didn't know how to respond. I'm like, am I supposed
Right.
to teach this guy how to make a panini? And he's like, I made a sandwich, and he literally just made me like a cold cut sandwich. And I'm like, this is not it.
I'm calling them up the next day and being like, that motherfucker's bad. Like, I'm okay with semi shitty service. That's bad.
Well, so here's the thing. The next time I went, there was a different person working.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a panini now. This is my time, right? Ordered a panini, didn't say a word to me, gave me the food, cold cut sandwich.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what a fucking panini is in this
Paninis
place.
are confusing, I guess.
Apparently.
Paninis, two things. Panini is one of those words, you say it enough, it sounds weird. There also used to be a restaurant
Panini
locally
Brothers.
called, well, I don't know about that one. I know about Paninis.
Paninis. There's one down the street.
Oh, is it still alive?
Yeah, it's still down there.
I know that there was
Yes,
one
it is.
in Pops.
Oh, good
Jolly good show, Paninis. No, I
Is
know.
that a Mexican sandwich?
There used to be a Paninis by us where we used to
Yeah,
live, and I remember going there and they would put fries in their
Yes.
sandwiches, and it was sweet. It was very good.
Okay, so Panini Brothers
Different
is
place.
a local spot to my hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your fucking pizza Dunkaroos out of here. No, the only reason I know that is because I have a buddy from our area who specifically will come out here because he can stop by Panini's on his way home.
That's cool.
Because that was his favorite restaurant.
Yeah, yeah.
But Mexican style sandwich
It's
is
so
not-
bad.
it's-
I think it's bad.
I'm glad they ruled this way because I'm glad the guy got his shop.
Right, and
Yeah.
it feels like one of those things where it's like it's a necessary evil of like, well, we have to call it this stupid, silly ass fucking name, but you get your shop in the mall. So like, wins and losses.
And I hope they advertise Mexican sandwiches now on
yeah,
their
that'd
billboard.
be so funny.
So this reminds me of there's a little shop down by my grandparents' house that's a blatant ripoff of Dairy Queen. It's like
oh, we have that. We have one of those.
Yes.
yeah.
We do.
Literally, it's called Dairy King.
Yes, it is.
and it's
Oh.
a real place.
Theirs is called Dairy Quinn.
Oh,
They
that's
have
even better.
Dippy bars.
That's
they
so
have
funny.
avalanches instead of blizzards.
That's
They have
amazing.
the exact same menu. They just call it all bunch of different
As
things.
long as they don't have donkey bars, I'm okay with
yeah,
it. You know?
better not be donkey bars, dude.
I thought about this the other day, unironically unrelated, right?
Mhm.
I'm like, I come from a very white family.
Yeah,
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
sure.
My family is all white, all the way around. In fact, I'm like 76% English in my DNA. I am the whitest person you'll ever meet.
Whoa, Trevor Noah.
And and
Travias and Nathaniel.
there you go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's commonplace because I thought about, I don't know what made me think about it, but I'm like, it's not far off if I go to the store, someone I know goes to the store and is like, yeah, I'm gonna grab some dinner, cook up some dinner, I'm gonna cook up some burgers tonight, right?
Right.
Grab the ground beef, buns. I have never been in the position where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna grab something for dinner and grab taco stuff. I
Really?
specifically will be like, oh, I want tacos tonight and go out and do taco stuff. But like, I've definitely been like quick meal burgers. I've never been quick meal tacos.
Really, tacos are in my kingdom,
In your dojo.
in my dojo. Tacos are
Oh
a
God,
quick
there's
meal.
tacos in the dojo
There's
now.
tacos in
We're
the fucking
everywhere.
dojo. Probably, I would say monthly. There are tacos in the dojo.
I envy that, dude.
because they are genuinely. You
I
literally,
love tacos.
You just break up ground beef, you put taco seasoning on it, and then you just prepare the tacos. You have to cut up shit, but you have to do the same thing with burgies,
Yeah.
Can we greenlight a show where you teach cooking, but like it's just that it's like literally just fucking go get taco meat and make it.
Yeah, I would love. Have you ever seen I'm gonna forget his name now, Maddie something, but he has a really funny cooking show where
Yes,
that's pretty much
yes,
the
yes.
concept. He just like makes shit really well, but he doesn't explain
Yeah.
it super well. Yeah.
But Mexican sandwich, I think it works because I've also been places where under sandwiches they have burgers,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be like you can get a cheeseburger or you can get a cheeseburger in a wrap. That's all a fucking burrito is, man.
I have
It's
definitely...
just meat in a wrap.
People are starting to, like, companies are starting to put wraps under the sandwich tab. I
Yeah.
noticed it literally this morning. Got Dunkin', we got a breakfast wrap thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was under the sandwich tab, you guys.
Because it is.
I was scared.
All you're changing is you're substituting the bread for a different wheat product.
It's true.
Taco
Or corn.
Not Taco Bell. I apologize.
Yep.
Dunkin' also used to have their wake up taco under the
those were
sandwich
The
section.
Those
wake
are
up,
great.
the wake up tacos that had the corn in them.
Oh,
those were
delicious.
crazy. I loved those
Yeah,
things.
those were.
They had like a
solid.
special ranch on them
But they
too.
didn't have them for very long.
No, it was literally one summer. I think it was last summer.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a Mexican style sandwich to me.
It was. They were delicious.
They were under the sandwich section.
Yeah.
And it was in fact a taco. It was
Which
a
is
soft
crazy.
taco.
Which is crazy.
But
you're true.
I think my issue is if it's soft shell, it's
Mhm.
just a sandwich. If it's a burrito, it's a sandwich. You lose me when you get to the hard corn shell taco. That's not a sandwich to me anymore,
Crispy
dude.
taco.
That
That's
would
not a sandwich.
that would be. So here was.
You say, hey man, I'm gonna pick up some sandwiches. You want one? Yeah, I want one. I
Harder
show back
sauce.
up with a fucking Doritos Locos taco. You're gonna be confused.
Listen. I was thinking about it under the guise of I used to go to a sandwich place in high school that was right by our high
Yes.
school. And we would sometimes go there before school in the morning at like 6, 5 in the morning, like way before school
Mhm.
opened because they were open. And we would get breakfast sandwiches, but they would ask, like, you would get the option of what kind of bread you would want, and like a wrap was like you could get it as a burrito, and that was an option of bread. And so I'm starting to think now, like, well, what if hard shell tacos were an option on that list? Would it be so weird? You know, like if we just started to introduce it after a couple years, would it be a weird concept,
But
or
the
would it be
pro-
like? Because you got to think like, okay, now let me double down, bro.
Sure.
I'm gonna go
Sure.
crazy on this. I'm
Yeah,
cooking,
yeah,
bro. I'm
yeah.
cooking.
Let
Spaghetti
him cook.
tacos, bro. You just made a
Don't
sandwich.
you dare tell me that's a sandwich.
You just made a sandwich out of two things that were not previously sandwiches.
So are you of the opinion a hot dog is a sandwich? Because what the fuck differentiate a hot dog from a spaghetti taco in the sandwich family? This is a
I think
sentence
yes.
that's never
Yeah,
been said.
everything with bread.
I think if you put
Sandwich.
I think if you put meat inside of bread, it becomes a sandwich.
Pot pie. Meat inside of bread.
That's different.
It's
'cause
not.
that's-
It's meat
No.
inside of bread.
No. Okay, so then what do you want to call like beef Wellington? Is that a Sammy too?
Ooh, yeah, that's 100% a sandwich.
Because I'm
No,
trying to.
it's not.
I'm trying to think of in the concept of can
That's-
I pick it up with one hand
that
and
is-
take a bite of it
Yeah.
and be okay?
No, there's
Beef Wellington, I'm good. Pot pie, I'm still good.
Yeah, I think
one
we could do
hand
that.
pot pie.
Bro, just take it out of the shell.
Bro, don't do that.
Take it out of the shell when let it cool down and like flip it upside down and lift up the
No
tin.
shade.
Yes,
Yeah, the
and
whole
just pick
thing,
it up.
that's a sandwich.
Because I'm
Big
thinking of
sando.
like the banquet mini pot pies. You
So
know
am
what I'm
I.
saying?
Here.
So you just microwave it, let it cool, and then flip it upside down so that the tin comes off, and then you could one-handed bite it, bro. Yes, you could.
If you and I are at the office, and it's
At the Rebel office,
yeah, at the offices,
clocking in.
and at our corporate place where we don't launder money,
No.
at all. And I see you in the break room, and you cook up a pot pie and drop that some bitch into your hand and start biting into it. I am smacking it out of your hand.
No, he's
That's-
enjoying
that's
We're
his
starting.
insane.
That is the beginning of an epic food fight.
That
I
is,
think.
I think a channel called Smosh did that already.
That
that is insane.
Don't
Some-
smack it out of his hand when he's enjoying his chicken pot sando.
Yeah, I agree with her. Something else I want to say now that you got me on the topic. I've always wanted to have a food fight. I think
We can do it.
I think like having a food fight and then donating like the same amount of food to like a charity or something like that would be sick.
I feel like we could organize that.
I think
feel
that we
Yeah,
could
that'd be fun.
like just rent out like a fucking I don't know something and then
Food
have it
fight for
professionally
charity?
cleaned afterwards.
yeah.
That would be really cool. And nothing like that I don't think has ever been done.
Yeah,
It would
charge
be-
people like $5, get in a
Right.
food fight, and then donate it.
right.
If you're interested in having a food fight with WSRR 216-859-8699, we can do commentary for it too.
That'd be so
Dude,
awesome.
I want to throw
Um,
mashed potatoes.
Yeah, no, I would want to be in on it.
Well, I'll commentate.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
We just gotta get like a screen over the equipment.
Yeah.
Here's my thing: Beef Wellington is not.
That's a sandwich.
It's
Bro.
Let me fucking
Okay,
finish.
okay, let him cook, let him
Yes.
cook.
It is not beef in bread. It is breaded beef.
Oh, disagree so
It's beef
strongly,
in bread.
bro.
It's
Disagree so
breaded.
strongly. You cut it and you can see like a clear layer of
bread.
bread.
Okay. Does it have to be beef? So like chicken sandwich is a sandwich, right?
Right.
Right. Fish fillet sandwich.
Yes.
Right. So
Here's what
beer
else-
battered fish sandwich.
Sandwich. Listen, hear me out, bro.
That's a fish sandwich.
Actually, no, too thin.
You're
That's
telling
too
me
thin.
beer
Put
bread
some
and
tartar
fish?
sauce on there.
If I
Actually-
go to Long John Silver's and pick up a
Well,
fillet and eat it, that's not a sandwich.
So then, why is a thin crust pizza still a pizza?
What?
If it's still crust, it's because it still counts as crust under there. Even if it's a thin layer, it still counts as bread.
Because here's the deal. When I
Here-
go,
here's-
no, you get a thin crust pizza,
Mhm.
and you can say take off this topping, take off this topping. You still have crust, marinara, cheese, topping if you want, right?
Sure.
That is what makes up a pizza. I don't just have marinara sauce and call it a pizza. If I go and get a fillet of fish, not the filet-o-fish, just a fish fillet that's
Right.
breaded, fish and breading.
Right.
I don't have the option to take off the breading.
Disagree
Yeah, you
so
do. You can
strongly.
peel it.
Disagree so strongly,
When
bro.
I order it,
Have you ever had like canes and the breading falls off of the chicken?
Yeah.
are you telling me chicken is a sandwich now too? Because
Fried chicken?
that's just
That's
breaded.
a
Sure,
sandwich.
sure. I'm telling you that's a sandwich. You're putting breading around the meat. I think something that wouldn't be a sandwich would be like a mozzarella stick is not a sandwich.
Why?
No,
Because,
that's a grilled
it's
cheese.
breaded.
because yeah.
Oh,
No.
I hate that.
Hear me out, style. There is no meat.
No, it's
the
a
meat
grilled cheese.
the
dog.
meat is the qualifier
And a grilled
for
cheese
me.
is a sandwich.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's even okay. Maybe it is a sandwich. I think a mozzarella stick's a sandwich.
So hang
guys.
on, because we still have a little bit of time. Sure. And I know very clearly, I remember you disagreeing with me that pretty much all pasta is mac and cheese. Lasagna, that's mac and cheese with some meat in it.
Spaghetti is not mac and cheese.
If there's cheese in it, yeah, it is.
There's no
Any
cheese in it.
any pasta that is pasta and cheese is mac and cheese.
Well,
but it has to be just pasta and cheese.
here's the other thing
Not
about
just.
that.
I've seen
I
people eat mac and
disagree.
cheese with hot dogs.
I disagree. What is the mac in mac and cheese?
Macaroni.
It has to
But
be
you
a
can have
macaroni
different
noodle.
noodles.
Yeah.
It has to be a macaroni noodle.
I'm sorry, have you never had mac and cheese wheels?
Spaghetti. No, I haven't. Spaghetti is its own kind of noodle. I've never had mac and cheese.
You've never
wheels.
had mac and cheese
No,
wheels?
I've had like craft shapes. Of
I mean,
like
that's the same concept.
SpongeBob and like TMNT.
What was that first one?
SpongeBob.
Okay. I just want to make sure I got that right.
Yeah.
Cheese wheels are where it's
I
at.
heard reverb on that.
I've never had cheese wheels before.
That's
I believe it's
insane.
like I definitely probably have even seen it in the store.
You've never
and
been
just-
to like, doesn't Arby's have mac and cheese that's like white cheddar and the pinwheel fucking noodles?
No, they
Oh,
have
rigatoni or
the
whatever it
little
is?
shells.
I've never
Shells.
I've never had that shells. Yeah,
But
Shells
they're
aren't
shells and
macaroni.
cheese.
but like you
That's not macaroni.
You people out there will call them, "Oh, I want the Velveeta shells." Like, can I have the Velveeta shells? And they're referring to the thing that we know as mac and cheese.
And usually I hear it said shells and cheese.
I'm just
I
saying.
hear I've heard people say Velveeta like
I have heard
verbatim like, "Can I have the Velveeta shells?"
Yeah.
And they're referring to that, you know.
Here's my thing. If you come up to me
Mhm.
and you're like, hey, I'm going to get you mac and cheese if you want mac and cheese.
Mhm.
I'm making a run. I'm picking up some mac and cheese. Do you want some? And I say yes. And you come back and it's Velveeta shells.
Mhm.
That's fine. That's exactly, it's mac and cheese. That's
Ooh,
exactly what I was
would-
expecting.
I
to
would
get.
be a little
if
bit
you
upset.
if you say I'm gonna go get some sandwiches,
Mhm.
and you come back and hand me a taco, I'm gonna be so fucking confused at where in this process you decide to get tacos instead of sandwiches.
No, I would even qualify. I would even understand. I would take the tacos, eat it, and even understand what you meant, I think. I'd be like, oh, he's being silly. He got tacos.
I want you to know that I'm gonna try and pull something like this
Sure.
at least once. It's
Sure.
not gonna be soon.
You don't have to tell me either.
No, I won't. Trust me, I won't. It's not gonna be soon. It's gonna come when you least expect it.
Can I just prepare myself? Can I just prepare my future self for this? I think if we're ordering sandwiches and then I'm to get tacos, I would like at least one extra taco because tacos tend to be smaller than the average sandwich per se.
That's valid.
So when you do that, just double up on the taco.
But I'm also gonna make sure if sandwich and taco is the scenario that I'm going for here,
Sure.
I myself am getting just a normal everyday sandwich, bread, sandwich meat in the sandwich, and you are getting a taco.
That's fine.
And I'm gonna be like, guys, here's the sandwiches.
That would be fine.
You'd be confused.
No, I wouldn't. I would understand. Damn it.
Hopefully,
I live by the sandwich code.
Hopefully Jake doesn't listen to this episode and you can pull it on him on an off air and Jake won't be in the know.
I live by the sandwich, die by the sandwich.
And then you'll really know if a taco is a sandwich because then he'll have to go through it in real time.
I think Jake had a hard enough time with 2 bowls of soup. If I'm being honest, man.
That's still rattling through his nougat. I know it.
And really, just to bring this full circle back to the cereal conversation.
Sure.
I put goldfish in milk and made cereal fish once. It wasn't good. 216-859-8699. Let me know if a taco's a sandwich.
You're listening to the Rebel Radio Show.
You know, for the third week in a row, I'm just chugging ayahuasca. It's a crutch.
Would you do an ayahuasca
No.
tour thing?
No.
So immediately ready to turn that heel. Just
You
so
are-
immediately, not even a thought.
He's
Grace's
watched
head.
so many
It
videos.
was so like instantly no. Obviously not, dipshit. Why would I ever consider? What makes you think I would ever consider that? The fact that I say constantly that I'm presently doing ayahuasca? Maybe. I don't know. Sorry, everyone.
Hey, welcome back to the Rebel Radio Show.
just kind of, rolling through the day.
I'm ready as Rebel DJ style. As you heard, that was Shani.
Hey, everyone.
On the board is Jules.
Howdy.
216-859-8699 is the Rebel hotline and text in live every Monday at 5 p.m. You can go to stylesrebelradio.com. You can go to WSRRradio.com. You can go to Live 365, download the free app in your app store or in your car and type in WSRR Radio, or go to Synergy Music Group on your internet browser. They make some good music down there, the Synergy Music Production Studio there. And they stream us as well. So shout out to Synergy Music in Chicago.
Yeah, we love Chicago.
And shout out to this Canadian teenager who was fined $580 at McDonald's.
Oh, my God. $580 is an insane amount.
Yeah, first of all, that's a steep ticket.
For the situation, and shall we delve in?
Yeah, so there was a teenager in McDonald's who had ordered through his mobile app.
Okay.
This is in Canada.
Uh-huh.
And he goes up to the window. He's waiting in the drive-thru line. And there's a dispute at the window. Either, the order was incorrect or he had already paid on the app, something along those lines.
Right.
So he pulls out his phone to show the cashier at the window his order on his phone. And as he takes his phone out of his pocket, turns on the phone, opens the app, and shows it out the window, the person behind him happened to be a motorcycle cop.
Ouch!
And as he's showing his phone, they flash their lights and pull him over for using his phone while operating a vehicle and give him a $580 ticket.
So fucked.
I'd
so
see that
insane.
cop in court, honestly.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
that's so insane. That's one of those ones where, I'm going to court and I'm looking nice and stuff,
Those are one of the ones where, like, you have an attitude and then the cop gets even more angry at you for having an attitude for how shitty the situation is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having an attitude.
Right.
Cops are always shitty. As soon as you get an attitude, like, there's been a couple of situations where I have been 100% in the right. And, like, I start giving an attitude because obviously I shouldn't be in that situation.
Right.
And then they're like, well, I could hold you for having
right,
and I'm like, no, dude, just do your job. Let me go.
I don't think I've ever had an attitude getting pulled over.
Really?
Because I just kind of want to get out of it.
Yeah, I'm always just, to be completely honest, I'm like mumbling and grumbling my way through it. I'm like, all right, fuck you, dude. Just give me the ticket and leave. Like, if I could do the thing where I just put my license outside the window and he hands me the ticket, I would do that. Because it's always an hour wait and you're on the side of it. Like, bro, let's just get this shit over.
It's either I know that I'm in the wrong and I'm just like, all right, let's get this thing over with. Here's my fucking ticket. Let me get out of here.
Yeah.
Or it's I genuinely don't know what I did wrong.
Yes.
And that part, I'm like, can you please explain? Like, I'm being super polite, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
I've been under those circumstances, too, and I think it is best to just genuinely ask the question of, like, okay, so I was just in a situation where I was talking to a cop off of shift who is a friend of ours, and I had asked him a genuine question, and he gave me a very genuine answer, and it seems like I've had situations where I'm getting pulled over, and like you said, I've had genuine questions, politely ask, and you get genuine answers.
Yeah.
And usually, at least in those situations, like, they haven't gotten hostile. Like, maybe a second cop is pulled up or something like that, and they start, flashing me on the other side or something. Like, it gets a little bit more, quote-unquote, intense or something like that, but as long as you're polite with the cop and try to be, like, at the very least understanding of, like, okay, I'm in the wrong, or like when you said, I don't know, so just tell me what happened so that I can prevent myself from doing it again. I think 9 times out of 10 times, like, they're going to be like, okay, here's what happened, blah, blah, blah.
I got pulled over getting on the highway, coming out of the studio once, and it was probably like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I literally had just gotten on the highway, was getting up to speed, and maybe like a mile down the road, and I got pulled over. And I was just very confused as to why I was pulled over, because like, I literally just got on the highway.
Right.
And the guy pulled me over. He's like, you know how fast you're going? I'm like, I don't. I'm like, I just got out of work.
Right.
I'm getting on the highway. He's like, where do you work? I'm like, at the station down there. He's like, all right, well, you're going about 20 over. I'm like, I was like, I genuinely didn't know. I was just getting on the highway.
Right.
And he's like, all right, well, be safe and let me go, right? So, like, a situation like that is I genuinely didn't know that I was going as fast as I was getting on the highway. A situation like this where, number one, I'm already annoyed.
I'm in the drive-through.
Yeah, I'm already. My car's basically stopped.
Right. You
are stopped.
Depending on like how long you've been in there. Sometimes I put my car in park.
Right.
Like, like that's a thing that people do. So you could be in park in that situation.
Well, I understand that, like, because the cars are running, it's not stopped. You're still operating the motor vehicle. Right. So like, even though he's sitting at the window parked.
Right.
Which, number one, I'm livid about already.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not moving. No one's getting hurt. I'm at the window.
What's the big deal?
Right.
And he's
I'm
already
using
upset because there's a discrepancy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm
got wrong
using the
food.
thing that I'm paying with.
Right.
To be like, look, I have paid.
Right.
Because that is his receipt.
Yes.
And I wonder if it's a situation of the teen who got pulled over maybe was just angry and didn't explain the situation clearly enough. I don't know. I hate playing devil's advocate in a situation like this because clearly it's fucked on the teen side. Like, it's fucked for the teen. But then you start to think about it rationally, and if I get pulled over in that situation, I'm going to be pissed. I'm not going to be as reasonable when I talk, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed, and I'd be, like, barking at the guy, probably.
I'd be like, I'm literally just showing them
Right,
my phone
I would
for the
be
order.
slinging fucking bullshits and, like, fuck, like, what the hell's going on? Like, this is clearly, I don't think I would be able to explain it as politely as maybe I would normally be able to explain myself.
So here, I get why this guy's even more pissed off. So he goes on and explains the situation here. And he said that this is his first ticket after 2.5 years of driving. He even puts his phone away from him in the glove box to avoid things like this while he's driving.
Good dude.
That's fucking wild.
So he's like genuinely a good driver.
Right.
And the one time he pulls out his phone to show a mobile app order
right
in a drive-through where he's not moving, he doesn't need to be paying attention to the road because there is no road. He's not moving.
Right.
So the cop says, there's a quote from him. It says, the individual was observed driving on a public roadway while using the cell phone. So not in the drive-through. He just pulled him over in the drive-through to give him the ticket. Which, that's fucked.
not the story.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Here's a quote from the kid. I'm barely even moving. I pull up my app and look in the review, and there's a motorcycle cop behind me. Prima told CTV News. I did think he was just going to let me go because I was just trying to get my free meal or get a free meal, but no. Turns out to be a very expensive lunch.
So, I did find the discrepancy between the U.S. and Canada for distracted driving.
Mm-hmm.
Distracted driving can face a $508 fine and 4 points for the first offense. A second and third offense increased to $1,400 and then $2,100 respectively, and an immediate 7-day seizure of the vehicle if convicted.
Wow.
In the U.S., fines for texting and driving range between $25 for the first violation to over $1,000 to subsequent violations. So, like, that's a pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference.
They take that shit seriously.
Right.
In
I wonder.
Canada.
I also didn't realize that a texting and driving ticket could be so cheap here.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, typically, the tickets I've received, and I've gotten a few, are anywhere from like $150 to $300 for my tickets, right? And they've been for different things, but that's typically the range they fall in. And I always kind of figured that like a texting and driving ticket would fall in that range too.
Right.
$25 is a nice ticket. I wouldn't even be that mad.
I wouldn't be that mad.
And maybe that's an issue.
I
It's
feel like it's
probably-
a time lost
did it say it
situation for
had,
me. I get mad with just sitting there,
That's
being
fair.
like I have somewhere to be or something like
Yeah.
that. You know.
Yeah, that's fair. Does it have did it have like a range? Did it say it started at 25?
It said it can go from anywhere from $25 to $1,000 for subsequent violations based on
Gotcha.
severity.
And I
Okay,
bet
so-
that varies state by state too.
Yeah,
I would
Oh,
I'm
assume.
county by county even.
Right, yeah.
There's like situations where you could be distracted driving while on the highway, and that could cost more.
Right.
Or you
Right.
could be on your phone at a stoplight, and that could be $25.
I'm thinking about like you're on the back roads at night. You're on a dirt road at night, and
Yeah.
a cop just happens to see you.
Your illuminated
Right.
face.
Right. Your illuminated face and hits his lights on you, and it's like, all right, dude, quit being a dick. $25 ticket.
Well, that's
Go
the-
on your way. You
and
know.
this is exactly like the issue with it, right? Because obviously there should be these tickets or these kind of offenses for texting and driving.
Right.
But also, we live in a day where everything is on your phone. This guy was literally just trying to show his receipt, essentially.
Right.
And
I
he
think
had to take
about
out his phone. When I'm putting something in my GPS, I'm like, it's my phone now. I don't fucking break out the TomTom anymore and plug it in GPS.
Right. I think about using my CarPlay and how technically my screen in my car is a touch screen.
Yeah.
And I always forget that. But like I can control it with just the touch of my fingers while I'm driving if I want to. It doesn't stop me or anything like that.
Yeah.
So like what is the call there? Or like, I mean, obviously I can do it all from like my my center console, like modular.
You
thing,
do have
you
a
know?
really cool setup with your center
It's
console.
like a little wheel that spins, and I can control the
but not
screen
all
like
cars
that.
have that. That's
Right.
crazy.
So like, I wonder. I always wonder if I'm doing something on there, if I'm hitting like next song, or a lot of times if I know the rest of the way home, I'll turn off my map.
Yeah.
From there, and so I wonder if like a cop sees me doing that, if they're like,
he's texting.
right, or like you're operating your phone while driving, like, because is it my phone or is it my car? Like,
right. And here's something I've thought about too. Right. So I have a third party touchscreen in my car,
mm-hmm.
and when I link my music, it just shows like a play button, forward and back. That's all it
Mm-hmm.
shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I could lean over and hit skip song or whatever on it.
Right.
But I feel like I'm more distracted leaning over to do that and
Yes.
looking down than I am. My phone is shut and closed because I have a Flippy Boy.
Yeah.
And I can just double tap the screen and not even look at it and skip the song.
Well, and that's a lot of the times the situation. I'll just tap my phone without
Yeah.
even looking, and then just hit next.
Yeah.
And that feels
illegal.
Well, it feels illegal, but it also which sounds shitty, but
And it is more illegal than...
It feels easier. It
Yeah,
feels like
yeah.
easier and safer because I'm not taking my eyes off of the road. I know exactly where to hit on my phone
Mm-hmm.
screen to unlock it, and then to hit next or to hit shuffle or whatever.
What a
you know.
terrifying dystopian thought is I know where everything is on my phone screen without looking at it more than the thing that I'm looking at right in front of me with big buttons.
Dude, think about, like, have you ever been walking and you're texting and then you look up and you're still texting?
Yes, I do that all the time.
I think about how strange that is and how it's just like, yeah, that's just my brain's just on autopilot there. I don't even think about it.
I thought about it a lot when I switched from Apple to Android
Uh.
because the keyboard layout is slightly different.
Oh, so it probably messed you up a little bit.
So buttons are slightly more spaced out
like
on
the
Apple.
like the moving everything in a room 3 inches over
Yes,
to the left.
yes,
yeah.
yes.
But just on your phone, that's funny.
So like I'd go to send a text to someone and I wouldn't be looking at my phone and I'd go to text it out and I'd look down and go, none of this is words. These are not English.
That's funny. That's funny. A lot of the times too, I use like my swipe keyboard, where I just move my I love it, dude. Ever since it came out, I think it's way easier, and so I can do that without looking too.
Yeah.
And it's like I'll just swipe my finger and I'll have like 3 sentences.
I hate that so much. And
It's
everyone I
crazy.
know uses it.
It's crazy.
I know Jake uses it.
It's for me, it's faster.
I like it. It's faster.
Yeah.
I fuck up too much using it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I swipe over things I don't want to swipe over. And
So I think for me, I use it because like on my first touchscreen phone,
Mhm.
it had before it was even I got an iPhone or anything like that.
Yeah.
My touchscreen smartphone had that.
Oh.
And I just kind of grew accustomed to it, and like even when I would fuck up, I would go back and correct it so that it would memorize
Okay, yeah,
how
yeah,
my fingers
yeah.
move and shit like that. And now
I do remember when you had to go do that.
right, and it's kind of gotten to the point now where like it knows what I mean, and so it
Yeah.
kind of just figures it out.
That was another thing too. Switching over is like after a while, your Apple remembers what you're typing and like
Right.
what you mean to type.
Right.
Having that not stored in my phone initially and being like, oh, nothing's getting corrected because
Yeah.
it doesn't know what I'm saying.
Right.
Doesn't
That
know
was a
who I
bitch.
am.
Yeah.
Right. That is a crazy concept. Never thought about that. Your phone kind of learns who you are.
Yeah.
Learns how you talk.
So I'm gonna make a reference here that nobody under 20 will understand. So how you said when you got your first touchscreen phone and it had the swipe
Mhm.
and you could go in and reprogram it so it knew what you were saying, right? When I had my flip phone, you used to have to use T9 typing, right? So you
Mhm.
get three letters, sometimes 4 on each key, and you hit it
Right.
3 times and you get that letter. There's a feature on my phone, and it was probably on a lot of phones, where instead of using your typical T9 typing,
Mhm.
it would auto predict what the word was. So rather than hitting 8 3 times to get a
Mhm.
V, I could hit 8 9 3 2 and like hit the number, and it would realize the word I'm trying to say. So like
Ah.
it wouldn't start out that word.
It
It
would
would be
predict the
Right.
whatever could be made out of those numbers.
right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
based on the
That's
sentence.
pretty cool.
So I used that a lot
Mhm.
when I found out you could do that.
Right.
And so like that's what I equate to that version of swiping. Is just like it's basically the same thing. Instead of using
Okay.
T9, I'm using the predictive. Instead
Okay.
of typing it out, I'm using the swipe.
Right.
And I never made the transition over to swiping.
Interesting.
I even retried it once I got an Android.
Yeah.
I retried doing the swipe thing, and I'm like, I can't even use the keyboard that comes with Android. I
Really?
downloaded a separate keyboard.
Really?
Yeah, I downloaded a Google keyboard because I hate the fucking Android keyboard.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
'cause
I
it's
also-
spaced weird.
I think it's interesting how much easier things like that are on Android.
Yeah.
Of like, well, I just downloaded a new keyboard because this one was easier. What, bro? You can do that shit? I can't, like,
Well,
it's...
so funny enough, the first day or two I had my fucking Android,
Mhm.
I downloaded an Apple keyboard that was similar to the Apple Map, and I downloaded, because there's a sidebar
Yeah.
on Android that you can adjust your shit with.
Yeah.
I downloaded just an Apple template for that, so it looks like the Apple sidebar.
Interesting. Interesting.
Because I'm like, I can't switch over like this, guys. I don't know how you do it.
I feel like switching over to, like, Apple versus Android is like grass is always greener on the other side sort of situation,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I don't know.
Interesting.
216-859-8699. Text me a sentence using T9.
Welcome back to the Rebel Radio Show.
The gyros at Arby's are actually pretty good. Gyros.
Oh, yeah,
what
no,
you
the
said.
gyros at Arby's are
They're
pretty
gyros,
good.
but yeah.
I hate that you call them fucking gyros.
They're gyros. They're gyros. It's a Greek word. Damn
I'm
it.
not Greek.
It's a Greek word. Damn it.
Greek.
Dude, get him to the Greek.
I'm not Greek. I don't go in the fucking.
Why do you call it Parmesan? It's Parmesan then for you, buddy.
No, it's not.
Parmigiano.
I'm not
It's
Greek.
called a fucking gyro.
I don't drive through Taco Bell and go, yeah, let me get pollo. I don't do that. I say chicken because I'm not Mexican.
Yeah, Evan, I don't go through the drive-thru and say, I want spaghetti. I say, give me the noodles.
I'm not going to be able to get through the day without equating things to sandwich or not sandwich now. Gyro, definitely more in the burrito family.
Yeah, burrito taco, I mean, depends on how well you can wrap it.
Like
Depends
a
on
snack
how-
wrap, that's a burrito.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's intentionally a burrito.
I'm calling a gyro a Greek burrito.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it a gyro. Sorry, Evan.
It's a sandwich.
Yeah, I think
I guess.
it's a sandwich.
I guess it, because it's, was it pita?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It's like
lives,
a flatbread.
It's not Lois.
That lives in the that lives in the sandwich realm.
You know what
That
doesn't
is
live in the sandwich realm?
pita.
Feta. And also Red Lobster's on the shrimp.
Yeah, well, Red Lobster's endless shrimp might not exist.
It's gonna end.
Yeah, it might not exist anywhere anymore.
So
in a little bit.
I want to clarify. We talked about months ago,
Yeah.
maybe a full year ago at this point,
Yeah.
Red Lobster's endless shrimp and how much endless shrimp you would need to eat at Red Lobster to financially impact Red Lobster's financial shrimp promotion.
Yes.
We talked about how we literally researched how much Red Lobster buys their shrimp for, how much the average shrimp price is to get in, what they sell it for, what the special goes for, how many plates of the special you would eat on average,
And
to-
how many you're allowed to have per person.
right, to put Red Lobster in the red in terms of going over budget with endless shrimp, and we determined that it was plausible and that it was going to be the downfall of Red Lobster. And here we are, all this time later.
Yeah, let me just jump right into this article from CNN. Last summer, Red Lobster made $20 endless shrimp a permanent menu item. Endless shrimp was a successful annual limited time offer for Red Lobster for 20 years, but Red Lobster's latest major shareholder, the Thai Union, a Bangkok-based canned seafood company, saw the promotion as a way to sell off the mountains of shrimp it was catching and turned it into an everyday item. And then the Thai Union became Red Lobster's largest investor in 2020. So the change cost Red Lobster just around $11 million.
Dude, I can make over that in 12 minutes with crypto. I don't know what they're bitching about.
So
12 seconds.
12 seconds.
Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy on Sunday, and the bankruptcy filing sheds a new light on the Thai Union's role in the endless shrimp mishap and how Red Lobster said it was investigating the circumstances of that promotion, with the Red Lobster management opposed.
The Thai Union sounds a little fishy.
That's interesting. The Red Lobster management opposed the investigation.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds like there's some money laundering going on.
It does, really, because they sold all of their shrimp to Red Lobster and then also became their highest investor.
And then stopped getting enough shrimp to supply Red Lobster.
Yeah.
So here's a quote. I don't know from who, but this decision created both operational and financial issues for Red Lobster, saddling the company with burdened supply obligations. Damn. So they're just getting so much shrimp, and they're like, we don't know what to do with it. Eat it, eat it.
I like that the story went from a company is catching so much shrimp that they don't know what to do with it, that they're like, hey, Red Lobster, let us help you out.
Yeah.
We will give you more shrimp, keep this promotion going year round.
Every
and
day.
Red Lobster's like, hell yeah. And then the company's like, you know what? Because of that, we're going to invest in you guys and become your primary shareholder, so we make money on this too. And they were like, hell yeah. And then people started showing up. And they're like, more shrimp, please.
We don't know what to... So here's another good one.
Guys, people like shrimp. I don't know if you know this.
People love shrimp. And the shrimp alone, though, didn't doom Red Lobster. The American poster child for seafood was dragged down by a range of factors, say former leaders at the chain and restaurant and analysts, including handoffs between a mix of investors and corporate parents and Thai Union mismanagement. So basically, Thai Union fucked.
Yeah. That first one was some bullshit, though. How they worded it, they're like, well, the independent restaurant managers, too, dropped the ball. With fuck you, dude. You're the one that bought $8 million worth of shrimp and then couldn't supply it.
It wasn't the independent owners. It was
fucking
you guys.
Dale and Davenport's not to blame for this, all right? He's just trying to manage a Red Lobster. He's trying to turn a profit here from your shrimp.
That's so funny.
You would think they'd be saving money on not having to buy straws.
What?
Yeah, they
Red
don't.
Lobster doesn't supply straws so they can save the seafood.
What?
Really?
That's not true.
It's true.
The last time I went to Red Lobster, I had a straw.
I could listen. I could believe that one way or another.
Every time I've been to Red Lobster, I've had a straw.
I haven't been to Red Lobster recently enough to remember if I had a straw. I don't kind
I'm
of.
sorry.
I don't take those kinds of things in when I'm clocking everything around me.
I was waiting when you said there's other factors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, yeah, no, they're gonna bring up the economy, the fact that everyone's fucking broke, so no one's going to Red Lobster. I
Shrimp is
understand that.
expensive.
Shrimp's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
$20 for endless shrimp. That's a good
That's
deal,
not
dude.
bad. All you got to do is eat probably like 2 plates.
Yeah.
Which probably isn't hard.
I think I think it was like 2 plates.
It's really not bad. I feel like I could eat, if I'm hungry, like 4 to 5 plates of, just depending on the kind of shrimp.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely. You get multiple choices. You
Right.
get 2 different kinds at
Right.
least.
I know you can pick between it at the very least coconut shrimp and like the shrimp on a stick.
And you get
shrimp
scampi, and you can have breaded shrimp.
And
So
you
there
can
are-
have the Alfredo shrimp.
Right, there are multiple options.
Yeah.
And they have the street corn shrimp now.
What the fuck? We
They
gotta go
do.
to Red Lobster. We
You
gotta
guys know Red Lobster?
We gotta
or what?
bankrupt them.
Let's drive the final nail in the coffin of Red Lobster.
Yeah.
But like, I believe they also put their foot in their mouth with food waste because you can't take these home.
Right.
That's something that we found. Remember, they didn't do the to-go
wonder-
boxes for the endless shrimp.
See, I wonder if now it's at a point where they're like, yeah, just take it. Like, you know, it's just because I feel like
It might be.
It's a server by server choice. Whoever is your server, if they're cool, they're probably like, here's a box. Take
That's
2
fair.
boxes. You know.
I want to go to Red Lobster and get the endless shrimp now. and like be told that I can't take it home and call for the manager and be like, listen, dude, between you and me, show him the article.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know the deal here, all right?
I know what's going on.
You
Just
better bring me some boxes.
give me a couple
In fact, I'll
boxes.
take a fresh one to go.
Yeah. Give me a couple fresh ones to go. Yeah.
I
Give me
mean-
some of the bread.
I guess it's slightly more expensive because we did research how much it was to bring in a load of shrimp for sale on Red
Yeah.
Lobster's parts, but Red Robin gets away with it with their fries. They're not losing money on that.
I feel like fries are a lot cheaper to make
Yeah.
than shrimpies. I love Red Lobster's what's it? Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Yeah.
Those are so good. And you can like make them at home and they're pretty easy to make.
They're not like closing though, right?
I would
They're just
assume-
filing for bankruptcy and
I
they're
would
going to
assume
continue being in business.
If they don't get like bought out or something like that, because I think that's the situation. They have to get bought out within X amount of time. Could be wrong. This is another one of those.
They got a TikTok deal.
This is another one of those questions to ask that friend of ours that
Yeah.
you could write
Yeah.
down.
We found a lawyer.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
We found a lawyer.
Found a great
We'll
lawyer.
leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will now
So
be
come at
getting-
us.
Yeah. We have a lawyer.
All right,
Fuck you
Disney.
guys.
We will now be getting legal advice.
But yeah, I don't remember what I was saying now. Shout out to our lawyer.
No, but I don't think they're closing their doors though. Is what I'm getting at.
Oh, yeah. I think it's like
It's
within
not a
X amount
Kmart
of time.
situation.
I think it
No,
might be.
it's a TikTok situation. Either they get bought out and they keep it open with
Yeah,
a new
no,
owner,
okay, you're
or
right.
they shut it down.
That is a good analogy. I think
Does-
it's within like X amount of time because they're gonna run out of money. You know, they just won't be able to financially.
They already run out of shrimp.
Right. They're already running out of that shrimp. They're gonna run out of the money, and then they can't even turn the lights on.
I'll eat shrimp in the dark, buddy. I don't care.
They can't clean the lobster tanks anymore.
No, that's what happened to
Pets'
Walmart.
heads are falling off.
Pets' heads are falling off. That's what happened to Walmart when they got rid of the lobster tanks. They had to shut the lights off. I want my goddamn America back, buddy. I remember midnight Walmart and lobster tanks there.
Dude, I'll eat endless shrimp under the black light.
Oh, dude, that's a terrible
Under the
idea.
endless shrimp under the moonlight. Take the damn roof off the bitch.
Listen, I've got my limits. I don't want to eat shrimp in the black light, all right?
I might.
I don't want to see anyone else that eat shrimp
I
before
might.
me.
Dude, I've been working on my echolocation. You know this.
I know. Why don't you just go help them with their shrimp situation?
I'm gonna go jump
Go
into the
find more
water.
shrimp.
I'll know exactly where I'm at because I'm good at it now. That's a lore update, by the way. And I'll just give more shrimp to them.
Yeah, just wrangle them up.
Yeah, I'll say it's kind of like an Aquaman situation.
I was going to say,
now,
you're basically Aquaman.
where I send out a little pulse with my brain,
He's like,
and
beep, beep.
I'm like, "Shrimp, come to me, assemble shrimp." Yeah, that's pretty much how I've been doing lately.
King of the shrimp, huh?
Yeah.
Going places.
Yeah, you know, it's
Not Red Lobster, but places.
No, yeah, not Red Lobster. Hopefully we can help them out. Maybe we're the investors that
I don't think we
maybe
are.
we'll buy Red Lobster.
I don't think we are. I just,
Dude, we you know.
maybe we can convince Red Lobster of our food fight idea, and we can have a food
Oh
fight
my
in Red
God.
Lobster.
A seafood food fight.
Food fight where you see the food
Where you
and
see
you
the
fight.
food. A
I'd be
seafood
throwing
food
lobsters.
fight. A seafood
live
fight.
ones.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Get the lobster out with the pinchers.
Dude, I would use those as like Wolverine tactile, close range attacks.
Wolverine, but he's got lobster claws
Yeah.
on his.
Clip
yeah.
all the rubber bands so that they have
Yeah,
free
dude.
pinchers.
Let them run wild.
I don't want to live in a society where Red Lobster goes under, and I'm breaking into an abandoned Red Lobster, and the lobsters have run wild.
In a
Oh,
food
it's like-
fight in Red Lobster, I am unclipping them, letting them free, and I am throwing live lobsters as
I can
at
only
people
imagine.
at as face sucking time bombs.
You think they're just gonna latch on?
Yeah, 100%.
I can only
Or it's
imagine.
gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt.
Like 12 years from now, when somebody's breaking into the since closed down Red Lobster and
Oh, God.
the tank of lobsters
Yeah.
are just there.
The
Like,
mutant lobster king.
It's
Yes.
like,
welcome to my dojo.
there's a famous shark, Rosie the shark, that is Google it.
Is this some fucking
It-
Daryl the Wild Man bullshit?
Bro,
She was left behind in some museum,
am
and
I just
when
your Jamie
um,
now? Jules?
Pull that up, Shane.
yeah.
Rosie the shark, but if
She is behind the desk.
yeah.
she was left behind at some museum or
Oh,
something,
what the fuck?
and
She
That's
looks
a dead ass shark.
She looks terrifying.
That shark's dead.
well, yeah,
That's what that is.
She was embalmed. Like, it was a dead shark to begin with. But when the place was shut down...
You had us look up pictures of a dead shark?
Yes, listen. When the place was shut down, her, like, tank and situation, like, people didn't take care of it anymore. So it, like, became overgrown and, like, really gross. And, like, people were breaking in to go see this shark because it was in the black and, like, terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, it was gross. But that's what
thanks
it
for
reminds
this.
me of. Like, I can just see people breaking into the Red Lobster and seeing the tank of...
No. When the
lobsters.
inevitable nuclear fallout happens...
Shout out Rosie.
When the inevitable nuclear fallout happens and we stumble across, because of course we're going to survive it.
Yes.
We stumble across in the rebel bomb shelter.
Yeah.
We stumble across the remnants of the Red Lobster, and we were confronted with the Mirelurk Lobster King that now runs it.
Yeah.
That is the scenario I want to see.
Yeah.
It's like we did the story years ago about abandoned like malls and Taco Bells from the fucking 90s that haven't been touched.
Yeah.
And there was the town that like it had Crystal Pepsi all over still because it got
Yep.
shut down when
there
the
were like
Crystal
the
Pepsi
vending
was out.
machines that had Crystal Pepsi. And
Yeah,
shit. Yeah.
that's what I want to see. I want to see people breaking into Red Lobsters and just eerie aquatic theme restaurant with lobster tanks.
Oh man, that is gonna be a very like backroomsy
Oh,
type
yeah.
setting.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? You know.
Oh yeah, do we have to go to break? Is that what's happening right now?
Yes.
Okay. 216-859-8699. Let me know if you've contributed to Red Lobster's downfall.
Whoever's the owner of the gray sedan, you left the Rebel Radio Show playing.
Sometimes there's just a mainstream story that's so big you have to talk about it, and
Yeah.
I think we all expected to when we came in today. I don't know if you guys watched the Oscars last night, but Chris Rock got the shit slapped out of him by Will Smith.
Yeah, he did. And then Chris Rock stood up, hit a fucking people's elbow on Will Smith too. That also happened.
It was
Keep
the
my
Rock.
wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Yeah, I don't think we should ever let him live that down.
And then he went ba with da ba da bang da bang diggy
Yeah,
diggy diggy.
yeah,
Oh, that's Kid
yeah.
Rock, my bad. It's a hell of a rock formation right there, baby.
Diglett.
Yeah.
He's a Pokemon.
Yes, he is. I think that's more of a Doug Trio situation, though.
You're probably right. So, in other news, OpenAI.
In other news, we're not talking about any of that.
Yeah.
That was like 2 years ago now.
Yeah. We're up to some ChatGPT bullshit again. So OpenAI has announced that the Sky voice personality, they're like pausing it because of concerns that it sounds too much like Scarlett Johansson from the and it's like reminding people of the movie Her. Is what I'm assuming.
No,
is
it's
the case.
in the article. Yeah, no, it says it specifically references her.
So. In
the movie, not Scarlett Johansson, but also Scarlett Johansson, who is
Right.
the voice in the movie Her.
I also heard, I don't know how true this is, but Scarlett Johansson could be suing OpenAI. Don't quote me on that. I'll do my own research, and you should do your own. Also, this is a news channel. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because like the movie Her was, when I watched it, it felt futuristic and it felt like, oh, this won't, like, I won't live in this kind of world, but now we have pretty much the exact thing happening. And I mean, I showed you guys the voice. You made a valid point, which I will, I'll let you divulge, but it still is spooky to me that like I could see people falling under this like the love spell of an AI robot.
Yeah, my point was, if it's not broken, don't fix it. The original Shaggy Rogers worked. I don't know why we had to do 9 different redesigns, because I don't remember any of the other ones, other than a pup named Scooby-Doo, and that's just smaller Shaggy Rogers. So, I'm glad we went back to the green shirt, red pants guy we know.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
In addition to this story, I don't remember where I was going now, because I had to think of that. What was my point I made? That Scarlett Johansson just sounds like a white woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Like, I get it, it does, and it comes down to the inflection of the voice.
That's what you get. That's what you get. No,
you wait till I show up with fucking tacos on sandwich day, you son of a bitch. Maybe I'll pull a gyro out. You'll never fucking see it coming.
Scarlett Johansson, ScoJo, she does sound like an average white woman. That's what people call her, ScoJo.
Who calls her that?
Me, when I see her on the weekends.
Yeah.
We hang out.
What you guys been up to?
We hang out from time to time.
What are you doing here?
Literally, don't worry about it. Me and ScoJo just hang out.
Fine, dick. Be like fucking Jake and Chris Pratt then. Go ahead, fucking asshole.
Yeah, But she does sound like just a generic white woman, and I can't see the point that the Sky, OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever voice sounds like just an average white woman.
I mean, she kind of sounds like that regular, like, weather girl news reporter kind of voice.
Sure.
And that's easily manipulated. Like, people can easily do that. So
I'm sure there's people who are really big fans of Scarlett Johansson, and that's their favorite actress, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'd recognize her voice. I didn't know that was the voice in Her until you told me today.
Oh, really?
I didn't know who the fuck did that. You could have told me it was a random voice actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would not have recognized it in a million years. If you gave me $100 and asked me who the fucking voice actor in Her was, wouldn't be able to tell you.
Interesting.
So again, she just sounds like you could have told me it was AI generated, and I would have believed it.
Right.
So
Interesting.
to me, she sounds like a generic white woman. If there is going to be a lawsuit, which is not confirmed or denied, but they did stop using this chat agent because of it, the comparisons that were drawn, probably in fear of a lawsuit. If that's the argument, it's such a double-edged sword, because I don't think, number one, you can make the claim that is directly her voice. She sounds just like a generic white woman. How do you have a claim to the inflection or sound of someone's voice? However, I look at the other side of that and be like, if it sounded like Johnny Cash, we'd all know it sounded like Johnny Cash. If they made a chatbot that sounded like Elvis, all of us would sit here and go, oh, that's Elvis, or James Earl Jones. Like, those are very notable, distinct voices. I don't think you can say the same about Scarlett Johansson, but what prevents you, I guess, is my point.
That's a fact.
The problem I'm seeing here is that this was a 100% made-up voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they created the code and all that to have her speak, and she just so happened to sound like Scarlett Johansson.
And I could fathom that, because I think it might be, if I'm trying to look at the grand scheme of things, for me, what blew me away and really, like, quote-unquote solidified it was the inflections in the voice and how she said, like, oh, I see, and, like, was very, could move her voice.
You have
very
a
well.
really good Scarlett Johansson impersonation,
Thanks,
by the
man.
way.
Thanks, man. But, like...
Sorry.
No, you're fine. it's just I think that we were all kind of as a society blown
We
away.
do live in a society.
We do live in a society, but like blown away by the fact that it can inflect its voice.
Well, and that was
like
the thing.
go up and down. And so we're just like,
Right.
oh, it sounds like this person, but in actuality, it might just be a generic
Right.
woman with inflection in her voice.
Right.
In the video that you showed, she was instructed to change her voice
Right.
and make those inflections.
Right.
So she could have sounded like that day, and they could have just been like, hey, change the way that you say this, and
Right.
Yeah.
it's changed. She doesn't sound like her anymore.
You're saying that's just one of the customizable options
Yeah.
is potentially sounding like Scarlett Johansson. I see that. That's a good point. Because, like, you got to think then they could probably change it to a male voice, and then people would say, oh, it sounds like Robert Downey Jr. or
Right.
something, you know, like...
they could say, speak with a British accent, and they could say, oh, now it sounds like Adele.
Right.
Like,
Right. No,
it could
that's a
literally
that's a
sound like
valid
anyone.
that's a valid point.
So I agree, but let me throw this in now.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know how this was programmed? Like, is it just like any other AI where it's just pulling information from the internet and
I
feeding it back?
would assume
You assume, right? Because it is ChatGPT.
Because it's ChatGPT, and because the owner of OpenAI came out and made that statement about, hey, other AI companies, make sure you put your restrictions on. I
Right,
think
right.
like this is probably one of the good AI companies. If I had to take a stab, in the
Yeah,
dark,
okay.
you know what I mean?
So that being said, it could very well be pulling from a very similar source in her.
Sure.
And being like, okay, well, this is how
it-
to inflect and how
right,
to sound.
right.
It could also be pulling from anything else off the internet. However, unless they're specifically feeding it Scarlett Johansson, I don't think there's an argument to be made.
Exactly.
Because we said the exact opposite rather with who is it fucking Will Sasso that keeps
Yeah.
parodying
Yeah.
Tom Brady and George Carlin.
Yeah.
And he specifically fed it 8 hours of George Carlin,
Right.
and then told it to write a George Carlin stand-up in his voice.
Right.
That is stealing his voice.
Right.
That is grounds for a lawsuit. That's intellectual property.
Right.
This just happened to sound vaguely like
Yeah.
someone.
Valid. And that was the other thing too. I looked it up. I don't think that Scarlett Johansson is suing. They have just suspended the voice.
In
so
case.
like right. They've just stopped the
Yeah.
Sky voice chat, which I think is probably smart, but it's going to be a tough thing to tackle. Because I was thinking about this too. It's well within the realm of possibility that OpenAI ChatGPT went and watched her.
Mhm.
It can presumably do that and
Yeah.
understand what it's taking in, and then just be like, okay, well, this is how an AI would inflect. I am an AI. Let me inflect. You know,
Right.
it's like watching a video of someone doing a skateboard trick, and then you're like, oh, okay, let me try it, and then you do because you watched this AI is just watching that video and learning from that.
Yeah.
Right? Very crazy thing to wrap your head around, and like that's a very valid point of this is just one customizable option, and it just happens to sound like
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson. So like, is that really? It could be grounds for a lawsuit because it is her voice. Then it does sound like her, but is it really
Right.
grounds for a lawsuit? Because then you can change it
'Cause it's-
immediately. And
I feel like it's the same situation as the Taylor Swift deepfake.
Hmm.
Like,
Mhm.
is
No,
there
you're right.
grounds for anything? Because is it actually Taylor Swift? No.
Well, it's her likeness, and I think the likeness is the biggest legal terminology.
I
Like, I think
guess.
that's the most important term legally, is that it's a Taylor Swift likeness, and you could presume that just by looking at it or hearing it, whenever, that it would be Taylor Swift or Scarlett Johansson or whoever.
The best I can equate this to in terms of legality, if they were to sue and be like, hey, this is clearly my voice, right? The best I can equate it to, because as far as we know, it wasn't just fed Scarlett Johansson's voice and
Yeah.
told to speak.
It has fed a lot of stuff.
Paul McCartney was sued at one point over My Sweet Lord because it was the exact same melody as He's So Fine by the Chiffons. And the court deemed that it was subconscious copyright infringement. He did
Wow.
not realize that he had
That's
basically
crazy.
written the same song.
Wow.
So like they ended up splitting royalties or something like
Sure,
that, but
sure.
it was deemed like it was an unintentional, copyright
Interesting.
infringement. I think that could be as far as this goes. Is like
Unintentional.
it kind of
recreation
sounds like her,
over-
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, Like,
interesting.
we didn't specify what it should sound like.
I
That's
see
just
that.
what happened.
I see that.
In addition, like Jules said, I don't know if this was in beta or what beforehand because I don't think this was public accessible. was
No,
it?
I think that it was like public accessible, and then because GPT 4.0 launched, I think like a month ago or something, like very recently, and that is the model that had the sky. So I think it was just a feature, like how we talk about. We think AI systems are just going to be like television. You pick your
subscription package,
right,
adding features. Yeah,
I think this was like, well, ChatGPT now, if you pay for the subscription, it has the Sky Voice option.
Okay.
And so I think they just disabled it, is what it is.
Gotcha.
If you pay for ChatGPT now, or if you don't pay, rather, it gives you a limit on how many things you get to put in
Really?
there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Now that there's a...
Which I was kind of
premium.
expecting, because when I was still making AIP, before ChatGPT became mainstream,
right.
I used a program called InfraKit, which is for script writing, and they give you like 1,500 words a day. That's all it'll generate for you. But, like Joel said, we watched in the video of it talking, they were telling it to inflect more and say it differently.
Yeah.
What's stopping them from just saying, hey, change the pitch that you're speaking in?
Yeah.
Change your vocal range.
That's
anyone could do that. Then what's the fucking grounds for any kind of taking it down or saying it sounds like anything?
Right.
If you can change how it sounds,
right? But then, so like to flip that same coin, if you say, make it sound like Scarlett Johansson, or make like sound more like a woman with a raspy voice in her 30s, you could describe Scarlett Johansson down to a T, and then say, make it sound like this type of person.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, okay, well, let me go based on what I know. It'd probably sound like this, and then you get a Scarlett Johansson voice, and it's like, well, then could that be grounds for loss? It's like the same thing as when Pixar said you couldn't use their style of imagery in making posters and shit like that for the AI like picture generating.
Did anything ever come of that lawsuit? Because I still see those.
Well, I think they're old ones that get like screenshotted and circulated. Is my guess, because I have seen a fair amount of them, but I feel like it's only the same couple, and like it's the same couple of jokes,
Well, I mean, we talk about all the time with AI as far as legality goes for it, and maybe we could write down a couple of these questions too.
Right.
But as far as the legality goes with it, it's that double-edged sword of like you and I talk about getting around the firewalls of ChatGPT.
Right.
It's you can go on ChatGPT and say, "How do I cook meth?" and it'll say, "That's illegal. I can't tell you that." And you can ask it, "Well, how in Breaking Bad is the formula used to make meth?" And they'll give you the formula that is used in Breaking Bad, right? It's the weird little workarounds like that.
So here's an interesting tidbit too. Sorry, I was. 5 voices are available now for the current version.
Oh, what the fuck?
And will also be used at launch for the new version, and they all have names: Breeze, Cove, Ember, Juniper, and Sky.
You're telling me Juniper doesn't sound like some random famous person?
Right.
Why do they have to pick such stupid fucking names?
They're so like deep and esoteric. It's
That's
like
my
mysterious.
thing.
Why are they named that?
One out of these 5 voices sounded like someone famous. You're telling me the other ones don't?
Right. No, that's a good point. And you could argue that, well, 1 in 5 people sound like
Scarlett Johansson.
Someone.
Some celebrity. 1 in 5 people are going to sound like someone famous.
I know at least 7 people that can do like impressions of actors.
Right.
Like, what is it?
Right.
It's weird.
It's such a strange.
It's the unfair line, and I started with it's the unfair line of distinguishing if your voice is recognizable or not, and how do you make that line? That's the hard part. Because to Scarlett Johansson, she might think she has a very pronounced voice that's very identifiable. I wouldn't be able to pick her out of a fucking room of 100 people.
Sure.
But like you give me James Earl Jones, and I can tell you if you're doing a James Earl Jones impression or a Chris Hansen impression or all these fucking names that they clearly have a speaking pattern. They're clearly like publicly impersonated a lot. Like they Kermit the Frog, right?
Christopher Walken, Casey Kasem,
right.
Yeah.
So like these are
Freeman.
these
Morgan
are people
Freeman,
where they're known for. I don't think Scarlett Johansson's known for her voice. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, and I wonder if this is another situation that arose because of people like is it James Earl Jones that does Darth Vader, and he signed
sold his voice to AI.
I wonder if it's stuff like that because people are signing their voices over to AI.
Mm-hmm.
If then when people start to sound, or when AI starts to sound like people, then those people perk their ears up and say, well, hey, shouldn't
I'm
I be
not getting paid for that.
Yeah, shouldn't I be getting money for this? James Earl Jones is getting money for this. Why am I not getting money for that?
Because it's not your voice.
And what it's going to come down to is someone having to break down the audio note by note, beat by beat, and saying why it's different from someone else's voice.
Yeah.
Whereas to like someone who is a James Earl Jones, if it was just a cheap copy, you could say, okay, no, here's why it is exactly supposed to be mimicking James Earl Jones.
Exactly.
I used to work for a station that was afraid of getting sued by Casey Kasem's estate, so they had someone who did a Casey Kasem impression, but they called him Chasey Chasem, so they would not get sued.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's not going to protect you from copyright.
Right,
You can
right.
just use Casey Kasem. I'm sure they're not coming after you for a
Right.
half decent impression.
Right.
You can put our Casey Kasem liners in after this episode, Jules. But like that's the thing is like it's such a weird gray area when it comes to audio like that because it's not a song. It's not fucking notes on a page.
Well, and I think it's a double. You said it. It's a double edge of. It's a gray area because it's audio, and so it's much harder to like replicate one to one to distinguish. You know, but it's also difficult because it's AI and it's so new. And where are the legalities of this? And like I said with the James Earl Jones thing, like that's one of the first instances, and so you could assume that this is the second instance of like something big with AI voice happening, right?
Well, I mean, fuck, how many times have you, like, turned on a podcast or an interview or something and just been listening and not watching and you can't differentiate who's talking?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Scarlett Johansson would perfectly fit in that category of I could hear this lady and until they fucking name her, wouldn't know it's her.
Right.
But again, I'm going to come back to that fucking same point of James Earl Jones is sitting there. I know James Earl Jones is talking. I know
Right.
Morgan Freeman's talking. I know Chris Hansen's talking. I think if legal action were to be pursued, because as of right now it's not, I don't think there would be a case to stand on really, other than it kind of sounds similar. And it seems like you said, ChatGPT often seems like the good guy in the scenario where they try to go out of their way to make sure things like this don't happen. They went out of their way to be like, okay, people are drawing comparisons, let's tweak it.
Right.
They did that on their own accord. They probably didn't have to.
And I think that's exactly the case of Scarlett Johansson doesn't see a reason to sue because she understands, and OpenAI is willing enough to go to the lengths of like, well, if you even think that, then we'll just play defensive, you know, we'll put up the precautions that we need to so that it doesn't sound like, or you don't make that comparison, you know, just for precautionary reasons.
Right.
Which is nice, and that's like a reassuring thing to read, I guess. You know, like this is a good overall net good, I think.
And there's plenty of worse things that could be happening, you know?
Right.
We talked about the fucking CEO that got swindled out of millions of dollars because they deep-faked his live video and used his voice.
Right.
Like, that's illegal.
Right.
That's illegal. That's identity theft.
Right.
At that point. This is just a coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's all there is to it. It is odd, and I guess that's why the comparison's drawn, that it's, you know, her. She was the voice of her, and it kind of sounds like her.
Yeah.
I think that's as far as it goes, though.
I think like your mind,
people are reaching.
Your mind just wants to go there because that movie was a super like it's a good movie and it's a very captivating, thought-provoking movie. And then you double that with, well, here's this very real scenario that kind of mimic, like when life kind of really does imitate art. You know, like this was one of those times, and I think just everybody saw it in the waters and was like, well, let's take care of this before it becomes even a bigger problem. Like how we always talk about trying to control and maintain and understand the AI before it gets out of our grasp. I think this is one of those situations where they're like, let's reel it in, see how we can finagle this and tweak it and make it not scary.
Right.
You know?
And I mean, now when it gets to a millionaire dressed in all black wearing a cowl fighting crime, I think then we're at grounds for a lawsuit. Until then... 216-859-8699 is the Rebel Hotline. You can text into this show. Of course, we're live every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern on WSRR Radio. Get there, stylesrebelradio.com, Live 365, or WSRRradio.com, or Synergy Music Group. You can go check out them as well. They're based out of Chicago. Shout out to them and all their artists like Silver Dollar on there. But stylesrebelradio.com and WSRRradio.com are your home pages for everything WSRR, live shows, showtime, schedules, podcasts, and more. We have great shows that come out all the time. We have a whole drive time block programming. That's Rebel Replays at 5 p.m. We've got Pigeonhole Replays at 4 p.m. and Shane E's off air at 3.
Yeah, I do a show. It's like we talk about what we talk about off of the air.
So you can catch those all throughout the week on WSRR Radio or anytime as new episodes drop anywhere you get podcasts. Spotify, Pandora, TuneIn, Anchor, Amazon, iHeart, you name it, we're on it. The Rebel Podcast drops every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, so make sure you ring that notification bell because we just hit an even number of subscribers on Spotify, and I've been waiting so long for that to be an even number again, so go ahead and ruin that for me. Make sure you hit the notification bell on Spotify so you get alerted when we drop new episodes. Of course, we are the home of independent and underground music. It all starts here at WSRRradio.com. I also want to give a shout out to A-Bomb Radio's True Vault Escapades that airs weekdays at 10 p.m. right here on WSRR Radio. So all you Fallout fans, make sure you tune in to WSRR at 10 p.m. every weeknight. And, of course, all music all weekend long on WSRR Radio. For more information, again, WSRRradio.com. I've said that a lot now.
Yeah,
it's getting repetitive.
I like it.
I'm getting tongue-tied.
I like
Join the Discord server. Shoot us a text, 216-859-8699. Until next time, I've been Radio's Rebel DJ Styles. To my right, Shaney.
Bye, everyone.
On the board is Jules.
Adios.
Peace.